Hey guys, what's going on? Kevin Cage back with another daily cryptocurrency video. Welcome to the channel. Like and subscribe if you like what you've seen. Let's get right into the information today. And to kick things off, I just wanted to show a little fun fact here by the Crypto Circus. So we are actually less than 1% of the entire world population invested into XRP. That should be no surprise, but I just like to see this figure actually. So 0.024% of the world's population is invested into XRP right now. And of course, we can see on the website in the rich list for XRP on ledger.exposed. You can kind of take a peek. If you guys haven't been here, I'm sure you've seen the website. Most of you at least have seen this. You can see account percentages. So to be in the top 1%, you'd own 70,000 XRP or more. And again, even to be in the top 10%, you own over, almost 2,700 XRP. All right, just wanted to show that. And again, you can always click up top here to see the number of account balances that own that. And you can see here, so a lot of wallet holders overall. So just a cool website. So again, ledger.exposed. And again, you can just type in XRP and it should pull up, or you can just type in XRP rich list and this should show up in Google at least. All right, next up, King Solomon. So words are important. So here's a quote by Brad Garlinghouse. This is, addressing, when people call XRP a security. So again, let's just read this quote here. It's very interesting. One really important distinction is the XRP ledger, that with its native digital asset XRP, existed before Ripple the company, Garlinghouse says. Certainly, we are an interested party in the success of XRP ledger, for sure. We own a lot of XRP. But it's a little bit like saying Exxon owns a lot of oil. That does not make oil a security. Oil, of course, is classified as a commodity. And as we see, I've said this in a few videos, whether it's Thailand, Cambodia, some other Southeast East Asian countries, they've actually classified XRP. Some have classified it as a digital asset, a utility token, an exchange token. Perhaps, some places could classify it as a commodity, but it's the furthest thing from a security. And I believe the US, if they ever have regulatory clarity, will classify it either as some type of new asset class or kind of do something similar to what the FCA in the UK did, the Financial Conduct Authority, classifying XRP as an exchange token or utility token. It's, we've covered this plenty of times. I just like that quote though. Good analogy. All right, right here. Here's some research, guys. A little speculation. We're just connecting dots. This is cool. And be sure to stick to the end of the video. I want to go over some important details as well. So Matthew Linney, as always, thank you, sir, for all your hard research. So European Banking Network will be able to access R3, the huge banking consortium, 300 plus banks, and Hyperledger and Ripple, all with XRP for settlement. We've already talked about Hyperledger a lot with their connections funded by Ripple as well, and then Ripple, and then XRP for settlement. So as we can see here, I'm going to go kind of skip this. I don't want to do too deep of a dive here. Talking about the objective. So we got target consolidation to replace the existing Target 2 infrastructure with a new real-time gross settlement system, complemented by a new central liquidity management system that optimizes liquidity management across all Target services. Sounds very, very familiar. Notice 2021 in November, kind of timing with some different updates that they want to do on the ISO 222. Some people say ISO, some people, 222, some people say 20022. Teach their own, guys. You know what I'm talking about. Basically the standard messaging layer or language, to communicate between all the APIs. And then I know we've talked about SIA, a huge group. Again, they're a massive network in Europe, almost 600 banks at this point, if not more. And I know we've gone over this a lot. And then SIA Chain, I apologize because sometimes I'll call SIA Chain SIA Net by accident, and I do not mean to, but you know what I'm talking about. I go over all these groups so often, it's hard to keep up, especially when doing all of these videos in one take with all kinds of background noise. I always hear like motorcycle speeding by, so... Again, guys, we see Hyperledgers we've just talked about, and then R3, of course. So all kinds of DLT, blockchain specifically, blockchain is needed, and cryptocurrency is needed on blockchain to actually transfer the value. And then, of course, if you don't see, we see Ripple down here as well. They're all working together to create more transparency, efficiency. I know I've shown a lot of videos in the past with SIA and their directors speaking. All right, here's the source that they were looking at, target consolidation. All right, another one I want to connect. So King Solomon, October 7th, National Bank of Canada goes live with Murex's regulatory solution. So he's not giving up on his belief that Murex is tied to with Ripple. There's too many connections, and I agree. So let's just pay attention to the speculation real quick. So just on LinkedIn, we see the director channel sales of Ripple was presently head of alliances for Murex for over almost 6 years, 5 years and 11 months. Next connection, we got Frank Martin here, project manager at Ripple. He's been there for, almost a year at this point, and he was a PM for almost 3 years at Murex. So again, we know that Ripple's, famous for headhunting and doing, very strategic types of acquisitions for not only companies, but also who's working for them. And a lot of people, just like Marjan Delantine, who worked with Swift and worked on the, selling Swift GPI, she jumped ship and went to Ripple and helped them expand RippleNet. Come on, guys. It's very obvious. You know what's happening. You see where adoption's taking place. So right here, National Bank of Canada goes live with Murex's regulatory solution. Don't need to read that whole thing. I just wanted to show that. And then I believe this is pronounced Synchron. Haven't really heard it in a video. But essentially, Synchron, they are, a huge kind of like fintech company. They help with all kinds of trade finance adoption. Let me see. I think I have the site open. Yep, Synchron reduces the risks of trade. So specifically in trade finance, as we can see, even privately hosted Ethereum network kind of goes hand in hand with Hyperledger as well. Reduce trade finance fraud and processing costs. All about blockchain-based networks, validation, smart contracts, digital currencies, etc. All right. And then the partnership, Synchron partners with R3. And this is back in the day a few years ago, but I just want to show you everything is connected, just like King Solomon has been saying. All right. And to finish things off, here are some quotes that XRP Boy shared. And this is literally straight from Chris Larsen, executive chairman of Ripple. So just regarding globalization and how it's incomplete right now, and why Ripple and what they're aiming to do with XRP will serve as the final component to create the Internet of Value. So right here. The Internet of Value will be the final fuel for globalization. Just as you cannot have fire without fuel, oxygen, and heat, you cannot have effective globalization without interoperability between three things: goods, data, and money. They all have to work together. Larson said, I do think that we are at the final stage of globalization. Globalization has gotten the bad rap lately, but not because it's a bad thing, but because it's an incomplete thing. With Brexit and Trump elected, nationalism seems at its rise. It's easy to think that we have entered a new era, an era of isolationism. It takes courage to believe in globalization in the political situation today, but it is inevitably an unstoppable process. As we go on to say, talking about this, we already have networks of networks for data, which is the internet, and goods, which would be logistics, but we do not have a unified network for money. In other words, cross-border payments are so inefficient that we waste $2 trillion each year to move value around the world. If we could have shipping containers that allows interoperability among different payment networks, we can make value move faster and more efficient and thus fuel globalization. So what does Ripple do? Well, Ripple the company offers banks or potentially individuals and merchants a more efficient payment solution with lower cost and higher speed by introducing a payment protocol based upon a decentralized consensus ledger. And yes, XRP, if you do not know the facts, is arguably much more decentralized than Bitcoin. Now, to make the explanation simple, in my understanding, Ripple adds on a layer underneath the current payment systems. This layer is called the Ripple Network, on which Ripple Consensus Ledger is shared. The most important part is that the layer is powered by pure computer technology and is secured by technology, so manual reconciliation processes are saved, and so do many other costs that could incur when navigating through different networks. Well said, I have nothing to add. Guys, let me know if you have any questions, any points to be made down below in the comments, and I'll see you in the next video.